Hi,
Hi.
nice to meet you.
Hey, it's so great to meet both of you. Finn, both of you were at Sundance, right?
We
This
were,
year?
yeah, yeah, yeah. We
Yes,
were just talking. We heard
we
Salt Lake
just said
City.
it.
Oh, very cool. I gotta ask, what was the experience like after, now it's been a few months after?
It was so cool. I've never been to that festival before. Had you ever?
I've
No.
never been.
It was pretty wild experience. It was very cool.
I was thinking that people would still like wear high heels, even though in the email it said not to. But when we arrived and we were like going up, to the cinema or wherever, we were walking through snow like this up the mountain in like high shoes, and I was like, "What am I doing here? Like, I need to go and get my snow boots." That
Yeah,
was
I didn't pack correctly at
no,
all.
me
Oh
neither.
man,
Me
it's
neither.
no joke, man. We'll give you no snow or 10 feet. There's no in between.
Exactly.
I had such a good time watching Ochi, and I think both of you have such an interesting connection in this film, especially with Willem Dafoe's character. Can you talk a little bit about both of your characters' relationships and what it was like filming with Willem?
Well, I think that Yuri in general is a very complex character with a lot of emotion and a lot of different bonds, like in her family, like to her brother, but then also to Willem's character and her mom. So I feel like every single character development, meaning like throughout the movie, was very different, like with every single person. But then with Willem, or Maxime, I feel like she just really had this very weird bond of wanting to love him as a dad or wanting to have a dad, but at the same time being really pushed away. There's like the scene where she's sitting next to the pigeon and he's like, yeah, I never got to have a son. And I feel like she really feels that. She doesn't feel accepted. And so she really wishes to, for example, meet her mom. So I think they have a very complicated relationship and until the very end not very intimate and don't really know each other probably. I feel like she's kind of like growing up like next to the Cossack boys and not really being seen as, who she is.
I think with my character and Willem's character, like there's sort of like my character sort of has a internal conflict where he's trying to be this kind of more traditional, like what Willem's character thinks is like kind of like his version of what a man should be and is. And then he's also on the other side, like just a kid who just is curious about things. So it was interesting trying to strike that balance and Willem was an amazing scene partner, so he made it easy.
I just got to see this yesterday, and I am already in love with Ochi. I want five of them. I want to give them to my nieces and nephews later during Christmas. This is right up their alley. But I wanted to ask you first. Tell us a little bit about the story, and Emily, tell us about your character.
Well, it's an incredible story about the courage and bravery of a child who ventures into what is supposed to be a terrifying animal world. It's a love letter to nature, but my character is a kind of smelly and eccentric and a crazy woman who lives up in the mountains. Yeah, no, it was tremendous fun to be part of.
Isaiah, you actually I saw an interview with you talking with Finn Wolfhard,
Yeah.
and there's a pitch video that was sent to him. Was this sent to the entire cast? And if so,
Yeah.
is that a normal thing that usually happens when you're pitching movies? Is it just a
Uh,
concept at the beginning, or were you
I
able
think
to
it
build
was,
something?
yeah, the video itself was like a byproduct of COVID. So I had been, developing this pitch I would give in a room, mostly to financiers, production companies, studios, and it was full of my concept art that I've been making and location scout footage that I'd shot in Romania and all of the creature tests that John Nolan Studios had been doing, prototypes of the puppetry. It had to be a kind of like undeniable package just to get, ultimately A24 to do it. And then when COVID hit, that presentation just turned into a video, and that was then send that to Willem, Emily, Finn, and Helena, and they all say yes in like 2 days, and we've cast the film. Just from them reading the script and seeing that video, and
My kids said
yeah,
yes. My
yeah,
kids watched it.
Really?
You
yeah,
have to
yeah.
do this movie, Mum. Isaiah pitched it to me as a sort of Jane Goodall type character.
Jane Goodall meets Obi-Wan Kenobi was the shorthand to like get people to understand the tone of that character.
Helena, what was it like working with a practical puppet? In fact, what were like the surprises and what were the more challenging parts for it?
Well, surprising definitely was that it was practical. I think it's a beautiful thing about Isaiah's work is that he really wanted it to be practical puppets, and he partly like painted the background, painted the island, and really like got into the work like very detailed. The Ochi looked like a real thing. I didn't feel like I was shooting with something that wasn't alive. It would react to me, it had these 6th grade puppeteers that would make it move around. I feel like it made it very easy for me, honestly, to have a practical puppet and just fun, it was a very like close work, a lot of ideas, a lot of trying around, a lot of different versions of the scenes, and yeah, I loved it. It was very cool because, he couldn't complain. I could do whatever, and he just would stand there, look at me, and like do nothing.
This wasn't the first time you submitted to Sundance, and one could say that it might have been something that could be seen like this is a bad beat. This is a stretch where I'm going to have to come back and be motivated to continue doing more. What motivated you to come back and resubmit?
Yeah, when I was in college, I made a thesis film, shot on 35. I was really proud of it, submitted it to Sundance, didn't get in. That just kind of changed the trajectory of my career because I was, all I wanted to do was be Paul Thomas Anderson at the time, so my narrative film didn't go to Sundance like he did when I was 20, so it's not working. I then, was seeing these DVDs that were put out, the collected works of Michelle Gondry and Spike Jonze and Chris Cunningham, and they showed me another path, which was to make music videos and to just really develop my visual skills, knowing that I could get into features through that other angle because they had just shown how to do it with Being John Malkovich. And fast forward 15 years, and that's what I did.
I love just hearing the story about just rising up and being able to make it work, and this film is fantastic. I love the fantasy elements, practical effects. The score is incredible. So thank you for your time. I really appreciate getting to speak with both of you.
Thank you so much.